God says, I want to talk to you for 2 hours right now because your pending miracle has finally been approved. And if you listen to me now before tonight, you are going to receive a great miracle that will completely alter the trajectory of your existence. So listen very closely to every single word I am sharing with you today. Do not look away from this screen. Do not scroll down to the next video, because this moment right here is not a random accident. It is a deliberate, heaven-sent interruption designed specifically for your soul. You have been waiting in the dark for so long, haven't you? You have been holding back heavy tears in absolute silence, biting your lip in the middle of the night, asking yourself and asking the universe when it will finally happen for you, when your turn for happiness, peace, and abundance is going to arrive. And today, God says that your miracle has officially been approved, stamped, and sent down. If you stop reading or listening now, you might accidentally miss the very thing that your soul has been crying out for in agony for years. This is the exact hour where things begin to turn around in your favor, where everything you have been praying for, breaking down for, and hoping against hope for is already in motion behind the scenes. You just need to stay right here with me, because you cannot afford to miss what God is saying to your spirit right now. When God says, I want to talk to you for 2 hours, He is not inviting you to something casual or ordinary. He is calling you into a profound divine appointment where heaven meets your earthly reality. This is not just a random message passing by your feed, not just empty words on a screen. This is heaven's direct response to your endless waiting. Every unanswered prayer you whispered when no one else was listening, every single tear that fell on your pillow when you felt utterly abandoned, every time you forced yourself to hold on when letting go felt so much easier. He saw every single moment of it. And now He is saying, let us talk, because I have something extraordinary for you. The miracle you thought was permanently delayed, the breakthrough that seemed entirely forgotten in the dust of time, the promise that felt simply too far away for your tired hands to ever reach. God says, I have already approved it. It is already moving toward you right now. But you need to hear me before tonight, because something massive is coming, something that will shift your life completely. If you miss this moment of divine instruction, you may miss the open door standing right in front of you. This is how serious this moment is, because I have watched you walk straight through literal fire and pretend it did not burn your skin. I have seen you carry burdens far heavier than any human was ever meant to sustain. I have watched people whom you loved and trusted misunderstand your pure heart and walk away from you when you needed them the most. And yet, through all of that pain, you somehow stayed faithful. You refused to completely quit, and even when your faith was running on absolute empty, you still whispered desperate prayers in the dark corners of your room. That is precisely why this miracle is coming to you now, because I am not just blessing your resilience and strength. I am actively healing every single place that broke inside of you during the process. Just like I did for Hannah when she cried out in the temple for a child, just like I did for Joseph when he was betrayed and thrown into a dark pit, just like I did for David when he was running for his life from Saul, I will do it for you. Because you belong to me, and I never forget my children. You are never overlooked, you are never behind schedule, and you are positioned right where I can finally reach you. Let me tell you why tonight matters so deeply. Before the sun rises again to greet a new day, something fundamental will shift in the spiritual realm. You will actually feel it vibrating in your bones. You will see it manifest in ways you never expected. It might come in the form of an unexpected phone call, a life-changing email, a sudden deep conversation, a profound dream, or simply a deep, unshakable peace you have not felt in years. But make no mistake, it will come. And those who listened, those who remained anchored, those who refused to scroll past my voice, they will receive everything I have meticulously prepared for them. I do not need to ask permission from ordinary people to bless your life. I do not need your current messy circumstances to look ready or polished. I only need your heart to stay open and receptive, because when I say a miracle has been approved, no devil in hell, no human rejection, no frustrating delay, and no bitter betrayal can ever stop it from reaching your doorstep. Not even your own paralyzing fear can block my plans, because I am the God of sudden, breathtaking turnarounds. I spoke a single word, and the entire universe was formed out of nothing. I breathed, and human life came into existence. I touched the roaring water, and it parted down the middle. I whispered to the violent storm, and it immediately stilled. Today, I am whispering directly to the chaotic storm raging inside of your mind, saying, "Peace, be still," bringing an end to the anxiety that has been stealing your precious sleep. Because I have declared absolute peace over your mind. And even though you may feel physically weak right now, my divine power is made completely perfect in your weakness. You may feel overlooked by society, but I have hand-chosen you for greatness. You may feel like nothing is happening beneath the surface, but remember that roots must grow deep in the dark dirt before a mighty tree can ever rise high into the sky. Just because you cannot see the progress with your physical eyes does not mean it is not already forming in the unseen, because I always work quietly in the silence. I heal your wounds in the stillness, and I rebuild your shattered life in the shadows. I am telling you right now that what was pending is finally released. What was held up by invisible forces is being loosed. The long-awaited blessing is coming. The clear answer is coming. The profound restoration is coming. And the relationship you have been praying about, the door you have been knocking on for years, the absolute freedom you have been longing for, it is all heading your way, and it starts tonight. But you must pay attention to the instructions, because you cannot possibly walk into what I have prepared for you if your heart is still desperately clinging to what broke you in the past. So let it all go. Let go of the bitter resentment. Let go of the crippling fear. Let go of every cruel thing they ever said about you behind your back. They were never your final word. I am your final word. Even though the enemy tried his absolute best to break you and wear you down to dust, what he did not realize is that every single time he attacked your life, I was quietly storing up a double blessing for your trouble. I was building unbreakable spiritual muscle inside of your soul, making you stronger, wiser, and infinitely closer to me than you have ever been before. And because of that deep transformation, your miracle is not just coming sometime in the distant future, it is already here at your threshold. Is it possible to attract money and abundance by simply speaking some miraculous words? This 9-word script, verified by Harvard and 6 leading neuroscience labs, proves you absolutely can, and people are using it right from their living room couch and reporting unexpected bank deposits, completely cleared debts, and radically upgraded lives, taking less than 30 seconds of your time. But this secret won't stay online forever, so click the description and comments now to access it before it is permanently deleted from the internet. Now, if you are still with me, if this word is piercing straight through your heart, take 1 second to like this video, not for vanity or meaningless numbers, but because someone else out there in the world desperately needs to hear this exact message too. I have so much more to tell you, and I need you to stay right here with me, knowing that the very next few words may carry the exact divine instruction that unlocks everything you have been praying for. This is not just an empty promise, it is a physical fulfillment. This is not just wishful hope, it is a permanent arrival. This is true divine alignment, and I have chosen this very hour to speak directly to your soul because your personal miracle has already been dispatched from the highest heavens. But I need you to keep your heart open long enough to actually receive it without pushing it away due to your past trauma. You have been waiting for so long that a cynical part of you actually wonders if the promise was just a figment of your overactive imagination. But I tell you the absolute truth. Nothing I have ever spoken over your life will ever return to me empty, because I do not speak idle words, and I do not make empty promises that I intend to break. When I originally said I would bless you, I meant every single syllable. When I said I would restore every year the locusts ate, I meant it. When I said I would go before you and make every crooked path straight, I meant it with all of my heart. I have not changed my mind about you, and I have certainly not forgotten the divine timeline I set into motion before the foundations of the earth were ever laid. Just look back at how far you have genuinely come. You do not even realize the immense strength you currently carry inside your fragile frame. You have survived horrific situations that actively tried to bury you alive. There were moments when you came dangerously close to giving up entirely, but something invisible always pulled you right back from the edge of the abyss. Let me tell you, that wasn't just your own stubborn will keeping you alive. That was my hand holding you steady when the winds were howling. When you thought you were completely alone in the cold world, I was standing right beside you fighting your battles. When your silent tears fell onto the floor, I was collecting every single one of them in my vessel. When your heart cracked into a million pieces, I felt every single fracture, and now I am about to rebuild the entire structure of your life into something magnificent. You have questioned me in the quiet moments of despair, asking, "God, where are you hiding?" And even though you could not always feel my presence wrapping around you, I was right there fighting vicious wars in the unseen spiritual realm, proving that your long delays were never denials. They were divine protections, keeping you from stepping into hidden traps. Your closed doors were never painful rejections, they were pure redirections, steering you toward your true destiny. Because every single detour, every devastating heartbreak, and every moment of suffocating confusion was a crucial part of the divine shaping process, preparing you to receive a blessing so much bigger and grander than anything you dared to ask for. I had to stretch the capacity of your faith before I could safely pour out the heavy promise, knowing you cannot build a skyscraper foundation on shallow, shifting ground, which forced me to take you deep into the soil. There were people who walked out of your life because they simply lacked the spiritual stamina to go where I am taking you next. And there were toxic situations that violently fell apart because I am about to put something infinitely better and more permanent together. You lost some things along the way, yes, that is true, but what you gained in the process is entirely eternal. You gained an unbreakable, deep-rooted dependence on me. You learned how to recognize my quiet whisper amidst the loud noise of the world. And you learned how to pray when everything felt overwhelmingly silent. That specific kind of refined, tested faith is the exact kind that I love to bless beyond measure, meaning you have not even seen the half of what I have eagerly planned for your future. Your messy past will never define your glorious destination. Your past mistakes will never disqualify you from my grace, and your chronic weariness will never discredit your calling. Since I specialize in taking broken, cracked vessels and using them to carry my brightest glory. Just like I anointed David while he was still out in the muddy fields tending sheep, just like I called Moses despite his stuttering tongue, just like I commanded Lazarus to walk right out of a cold grave, what makes your human mind think that your current flaws are somehow too great for my infinite power to overcome, when I am never limited by your human resources, your failing resume, or your earthly record? I look straight past all of that and look right at your heart, seeing the fierce fight still left inside of you, seeing the deliberate way you choose to cling to faith even when thick fear surrounds your perimeter. And because of that beautiful resilience, your miracle has officially been set into motion, bringing not just a small, temporary breakthrough, but a massive, undeniable shift, a complete and total turning of the tide, where things that have been frustratingly stuck for years will suddenly begin to move with effortless grace. where people who once looked right through you and overlooked your value will finally see the brilliant light I placed inside of you, and where golden opportunities will suddenly appear out of thin air in places where there were only locked doors and brick walls. Listen to me carefully, because this divine intervention is not just about what I am physically giving to you as an outward reward. It is profoundly about what I am deeply doing inside of you to transform your character. I am actively refining your inner character, growing your divine wisdom day by day, and giving you laser-sharp spiritual discernment so you instantly know what to say a firm yes to and what to walk away from without a second thought. You are not just about to receive a random miracle that you will squander. You are about to carry it with such grace and maturity that you won't drop it this time. You won't foolishly sabotage it with your old habits of self-doubt, and you won't run away from your own blessings out of a false sense of unworthiness. Instead, you will be thoroughly ready, and you will instantly know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was me who did it. This exact reason is why I desperately need your heart tuned to my frequency right now. Not tomorrow, not next week when it is convenient, but right now before tonight arrives. Because I am about to begin releasing absolute clarity into your foggy mind, confirming things in ways that will make it completely impossible for you to ignore my hand, bringing the deep peace you have been longing for, and bringing the exact answer you have been desperately praying for. Though it will require a bit of surrender from your end, asking you to let go of what is tightly clenched in your fists so I can finally fill those empty hands with what is truly mine, stopping your exhausting habit of trying to control every single outcome in your environment, because I never once asked you to carry the weight of the entire world on your shoulders. You were never meant to be your own provider when I am Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides abundantly, seeing the glorious end from the very beginning, promising you that nothing in your shattered life is ever too far gone for me to resurrect back to vibrant life. Not your dead dreams, not your failing health, not your broken family dynamics, not your anxious mind, and not your drained finances. Because I am the God of miraculous resurrection, and I am breathing fresh, healing life right back into what you had already given up on and thought was completely over, proving to you that even though you thought it was way too late, I am never late. I am always right on time. Your approved miracle is already speeding down the highway of the Spirit toward you, though it will require your honest obedience rather than your impossible perfection. So just keep walking, one step at a time. Keep praying when your knees ache. Keep praising me even when it hurts, and especially when the pain is sharpest, because that is the exact second when your breakthrough is closest to manifesting. What if everything you have been taught about money and survival is actually a lie designed to keep you bound? When a hidden 9-word prayer buried deep inside a classified FBI report is currently helping thousands of everyday people attract true wealth without lifting a single finger, with scientists confirming it activates an ancient part of your human brain, controlling abundance, making it Harvard-backed, lab-tested, and completely life-changing. But the powers that be might pull this secret down at any second. So click the link in the description and comments right now before it is deleted forever. I need you to hear this loud and clear so it echoes in your soul for the rest of your days. You are not a catastrophic mistake. You are not forgotten in the grand scheme of the universe, and you are not invisible to my watchful eyes. I have deliberately marked you for something profoundly great, which is precisely why the enemy fought you so relentlessly hard, and why your spiritual battle felt so excruciatingly long and lonely. Because he caught a terrifying glimpse of your massive potential even before you had any clue who you truly were. This is not the tragic end of your story. It is merely the beautiful beginning. You are currently standing right on the razor edge of something entirely brand new, stepping into a fresh seasonal shift, a divine turning point where I am actively swinging open doors that no human hand could ever shut, making cool, refreshing rivers flow freely in your dry, desolate places, lifting the crushing weight off your tired shoulders so you can finally breathe deeply again, laugh without hesitation, and live without constant fear. Stay right here with me. Do not drift away into distraction. Do not let doubt whisper lies into your ear, and do not disconnect from my presence, because even though your heart has carried more than its fair share of agony, I am carrying you now. I am speaking divine peace over your turbulent storm, pouring healing balm over your chronic pain, infusing supernatural strength into your moments of weakness, providing lavishly for your every earthly need, and above all, wrapping you in an endless, unwavering, perfect love that will never let you go. You are still here reading these words because your spirit is instantly recognizing and catching the truth of what I am saying, and I want you to truly know in the marrow of your bones that I see every single piece of your complex life. Both the polished parts you proudly show the world and the deeply hidden, messy parts you try desperately to keep in the dark. And yet, knowing all of that, I have still deliberately chosen to shower you with my unconditional blessing, still approved your miraculous turnaround, proving that what you foolishly thought was the tragic end is actually the canvas where I am starting my finest work. You look at your own broken pieces and realize there was never a moment where I could not use them for my glory, because I specialize in taking what the cynical world throws away in the trash and breathing divine purpose right back into its lungs. Which is why I am still speaking urgently to your heart right now, because the next chapter of your life is far too important for you to miss out on due to apathy or disbelief. You may currently be walking through one of the absolute hardest, darkest seasons of your entire existence, but I urge you, with all my love, not to confuse loving pressure with harsh punishment. I am not punishing you for past sins, I am fiercely preparing you for massive influence. Just like raw gold is ruthlessly refined and purified by intense fire, I am purifying your motives, your grand vision, and your sacred purpose. And when you finally step out of this fiery trial on the other side, because I promise you that you will come out victorious, you won't even look like what you've been through, instead carrying an authentic strength, a royal grace, and an undeniable testimony that will violently shake the foundations of doubt and cynicism standing around you. I know intimately how deeply tired you truly are, how you have spent years faithfully showing up for everyone else in your circle, carrying heavy emotional burdens quietly behind closed doors, flashing a brave smile when your chest was aching in sorrow, and being completely reliable in the darkest hours. Now I am about to reward you out in the bright open light, bringing your private prayers answered out into the public view, not because you manipulated or forced anything to happen through your own cleverness, but purely because you trusted me when you had zero visible, logical reason to hold on. That specific brand of loyal trust is the exact thing that moves my heart to action, because anyone can have faith when life is smooth and prosperous, but having fierce faith when everything around you is collapsing is legendary. Do you remember how I miraculously parted the raging Red Sea for the Israelites? I did it at the exact moment when there was literally no visible way forward left on the map. Do you remember how I provided sweet manna falling from the sky in the barren wilderness? I did it when there was not a crumb of food anywhere in sight. Do you remember how I instantly calmed the terrifying storm with a single word when my disciples were panicking in the boat? I am doing the exact same thing for your life today, making a miraculous way where human logic dictates there is no way, providing lavishly right in the suffocating middle of your lack, and speaking tranquil peace straight into your chaotic environment. Not because you somehow earned it through moral perfection, but because you are my beloved child, meaning you are no longer defined by your painful past, your messy mistakes, or your temporary failures, but solely defined by my relentless love and my unbreakable promises. You will see genuine goodness again with your own eyes. You will feel pure, unadulterated joy bubbling up in your chest. You will rise from the ashes like a phoenix, and you will be completely restored. I know people walked away from you when you needed them. I know they failed to recognize your true worth, and I know you gave your absolute best to ungrateful hands and were left feeling completely empty and used. But I never once walked away from your side, and I never changed my brilliant mind about your destiny, because what they were too blind to see, I always saw clearly from the start. The raw beauty, the profound purpose, and the immense value locked inside of you, which was never lost on me. Now I am going to put on a display of my power so that everyone around you sees what happens when the Creator steps into a human situation. What I have prepared for you does not require the fragile approval of insecure people, does not need the petty validation of the ones who look down on you, and does not need any human explanation, because when I bless you so lavishly, absolutely no one will be able to deny that it was my hand at work. You won't have to endlessly prove your worth or strive frantically for success. You'll simply walk right into your inheritance because it was written into your story before the stars were flung into space. What is coming down the pipe for you is not just a selfish blessing meant to pamper you. It is a tidal wave that will bless every single person connected to your bloodline. Your radical healing will inadvertently free others from their prisons. Your public breakthrough will unlock heavy doors for your family, and your inspiring story will become the exact beacon of light someone else needs to start believing in miracles again. Which is precisely why I have been shaping you with such meticulous care. Because your life is no longer just about basic survival and paying bills. It is about creating massive generational impact, stepping fully into your divine legacy, and walking in the absolute fullness of everything I created you to be. You were never placed on this earth to merely exist as a ghost, but to live a life of overflowing abundance, not just financially in your bank accounts, but in unshakable peace, infectious joy, clear-cut purpose, and unconditional love, fulfilling my promise that you might have life and have it more abundantly. You are not going to stay trapped in this depressing valley much longer. You are not going to remain stuck in this exhausting struggle, and you are not going to drown in this mental confusion, because the heavy fog is currently lifting off your mind, the oppressive weight is breaking into pieces, and the long, terrifying night is finally ending. When the bright morning sun breaks over the horizon, you will look back and finally understand how I was working behind the scenes the entire time, seeing clearly that every painful delay had a protective purpose, every closed door was an act of mercy, and every moment of deafening silence was actually filled with my heavy armor and protection. Do not dare give up right now at the finish line. Do not walk away in frustration, and do not let temporary discouragement talk louder than my eternal promises, because I am the God who always finishes what he starts. I am far from done with you. I am just getting warmed up, and everything I promised with my mouth, I will perform with my power, proving my word never returns to me void. Why are top neuroscientists and researchers suddenly obsessed with a strange 9-word sentence? Because this exact sentence, when spoken out loud once a day, is turning crushing financial stress into sudden, unexpected blessings, with more than 19,000 ordinary people already using it to completely erase their suffocating debt and unlock a brand new life of wealth, freedom, and deep peace. The results are so overwhelmingly powerful that many believe it must be divine intervention, and if you are lucky enough to be seeing this right now, this page might disappear into the digital void at any moment. Click the link in the description and comments to secure this secret before it is wiped away forever. I never took my divine eyes off you, not even for a single microsecond, and now what you could not comprehend back then, in the thick of the pain, is finally becoming crystal clear, showing you how I was meticulously shaping your story, even when the heavens felt like solid bronze. I was building something eternal inside of your spirit, while the ignorant world looked on thinking nothing of value was happening, which is the sheer beauty of how I operate, quietly, faithfully, and always right on time. You wondered why it took so long, only to realize your perceived delay was my impenetrable shield of protection, and what you mistook for cruel rejection was actually me violently uprooting you away from hidden harm. I am never late. Allowing certain toxic paths to permanently close was simply so that infinitely greater highways could swing wide open for your feet. I know you have been secretly carrying a mountain of stress far heavier than what you let your peers see, wearing a painted smile that completely masks the heavy weight dragging behind you on the floor, but I see every ounce of it, and I am stepping in right now to lift it off your tired shoulders once and for all. You were never meant to walk through this harsh life carrying boulder-sized burdens that bend your spiritual spine into agony, which is why my invitation stands firm for you to come to me when you are weary, so I can give you authentic rest, the kind of soul-deep rest that sinks far deeper than physical sleep, reviving every dead cell in your body. Your delicate heart has endured more than most human beings could ever survive, and yet, miraculously, you managed to stay soft and compassionate, a trait that matters immensely to me. I have not forgotten a single one of the glorious promises I whispered over your life in the quiet sanctuary of your youth, even though you foolishly gave up on some of them, buried others in the dirt of disappointment, and stopped praying for a few, entirely because hoping hurt way too much to bear. But I kept every single one of them safe in my memory, nurturing those dormant seeds in the dark silence, and right now they are finally beginning to sprout and bloom. Tell me, can you physically feel it? Can you feel that sudden, inexplicable stirring deep within your chest, that quiet, persistent sense that the atmosphere of your life is violently shifting right now, because that is me? I am actively awakening the dreams you thought were permanently dead and buried, breathing fresh wind back onto what looked like a corpse of a destiny, proving that resurrection is not just a historical event of the past, but the active reality of what I am doing with your life today. This upcoming miracle is not just a tiny, insignificant adjustment or a minor life upgrade, but a total, seismic transformation that will make you look back in a few months and literally not even recognize the desperate version of you that once cried endless tears for the very reality you are now comfortably walking inside of. You won't remember the weight the same way because you'll erase the painful memory of the heavy burden in light of the blinding beauty of the new blessing, turning your most private, agonizing suffering into a loud, public testimony of my grace, arriving not on some vague day in the distant future, but very soon, right before tonight falls. Your spirit will unequivocally know that a holy event is transpiring. You'll feel it. You'll know it, down to your bones, because I am confirming it in ways that defy all human logic. Can simply uttering 9 words on a daily basis actually make money flow into your bank account out of nowhere? A top neuroscientist says an absolute yes, and the government accidentally leaked proof of it, showing how this forgotten wealth prayer is transforming regular, struggling people into financially liberated individuals for the rest of their days. But this secret is heavily suppressed and won't stay online long before the algorithm scrubs it. So click the link in the description and comments right now before it is taken down into the abyss forever. I wanted to make sure you heard me with absolute clarity on this next point. You are not being overlooked in the divine roll call. You are not being punished for your past stumbles, and you are simply being strategically positioned for maximum impact. Everything you have survived, the brutal heartbreak, the deafening silence, the agonizing waiting periods, the painful setbacks, was never for nothing, and it was never meant to break your spirit, but rather to forge your armor. What you dismissively call a frustrating delay is actually my masterclass in personal development, where the long season of preparation finally crashes head-on into the season of fulfillment. transforming what was once marked as pending into an immediate, authorized release with your full legal name stamped across the top. I know with intimate detail how weary your soul has become after running this marathon of life, how you have forced yourself to stay painfully quiet when every fiber of your being wanted to scream at the injustice of it all, how you remained fiercely faithful when it felt like the entire universe was ignoring your existence, and how you smiled through hollow seasons that drained the very lifeblood out of your veins. The enemy whispered dark lies into your ear, trying to convince you that your story would end in tragedy and nothing would ever change for the better, but he is a pathetic liar from the pit, because at the exact microsecond he tried to throw dirt over your head and bury you alive, I opened the heavens and began to water your soul with my grace. Now you are standing right on the precipice of blooming wildly in a place you once thought was destined to remain permanently barren, dry and dead, proving once and for all that my word never fails and my love never runs out.